Hey everyone, I am here with Corey. Say hi, Corey.
Hey, how's it going?
And this is the first of those quick update videos that we promised that we're going to try to do daily that just quickly recap the work that we've got done in the day, or in this case, the previous day. We're doing the updates in the morning before we do that day's work, if that makes sense. But so anyway, this beautiful art here is the snow environment that Corey made after our discussion yesterday, where we decided what four environments we needed to make the bare minimum complete version 1.0 of the game. And as you can see, Corey did a magnificent job under the extreme color constraints that this game is under, because we're making this, all the art, all the design for this game is being done so that it's creating the actual game design and the actual graphics for what will be the classic Amiga computer version, and those are 30-year-old computers. So you can see here he's just using 16 color indexes total, and there are other strict color restrictions on top of that we'll get into some other time. That's not really what this video is about, but I just wanted to sort of brag at how good Corey is. I'll take the credit. I'll brag at how good Corey is at just absolutely stunning environment work, even under extreme color restraints. And we got this great looking Ram Man enemy that we had also discussed. Each environment has enemies specific to that environment. Each environment is a theme for that particular level, which is sort of like Altered Beast had the same kind of thing going on. And the same thing with the power-up. We plan on the power-up hopefully being different for each level as well that the player can get. But anyway, Corey knocked that out of the park. The only thing left to do is he needs to design the back layer, which has other severe color limitations. It's literally made out of a 2-color image. And then one of those 2 colors can be changed every row. Every horizontal line on the screen can be a different color, but only 2 colors per line. They're called scan lines. In the olden days, they were called scan lines anyway. But anyway, that's progressing beautifully. I can't wait to get that new level in the game. Yep, go ahead, Corey.
One thing I wanted to bring up on this particular environment, I know on the first environment we have that foreground tree, and we talked about the foreground elements here. You are using a separate palette for that,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay, so is that like a second 16 color palette that you're using for? Would it share
they're
the
made out of
effects
sprites
and the foreground?
No, they're made out of the sprites, which use the second set of 16 colors if you're using 16 color sprites. The Wilderness does use 2 16-color sprites stuck together. That's why it can only have one fairly thin tree on screen. Your other option is to make 3-color objects, which is what I did in the cave mock-up, and what you could probably get away with doing here for the ice stalagmites that we have planned for this environment. And then we could have more of them. So we could have 2 on screen at a time, which would really add a lot. Yeah. So in the case of doing something simple like ice, I think 3-color is the best way to go.
So I can just
make
that
your
be
own
used
3
else.
colors.
I can just make my own 3-color palette for that.
Exactly right.
Here. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
And then if you wanted to get really fancy, you could even make each frame, like if we want to give the stalagmites the occasional shine animation, which could be pretty cool, just like a 3-frame shine. It'll take less memory because it's only 3-color images, as opposed to 16. And then you could, if you wanted to get really fancy, you could make each frame of the animation have a slightly different, if that helped in some way pull off the animation, which certainly might not be necessary or might not be the case, but I'm just letting you know that is an option too. We could hard code it to say when it's playing this, when it's on this frame, then change the palette of the sprite indexes that it's using to update the palette for that particular frame. But if you don't need to get that fancy, don't bother, but I'm just letting you know what the options are.
Okay.
All right. But
that sounds good. Yeah, this shouldn't take too much more to get complete as far as this environment goes, and then it'll just be about doing the characters here, and then
there's the other enemy left for this environment, or the other main enemy for this environment is the flying. It's going to be an owl, and then there's going to be.
I was thinking about too, since the owl might have a different behavior, instead of just flying by and he might be dropping something, like
Right.
should he sort of have a little bit different pose, like he's holding on to something and he's a little more upright and trying to hold it up?
Yeah, that does make sense if he's on a bit of an angle, like a more of a hover angle.
Right.
And then, his feet could be clutching something.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, but yeah, that'll be a fun one to do. Yeah, okay, yeah, sounds good. I just wanted to clarify that with you.
Yeah, definitely.
I wasn't sure because we had that. Like with the bird, I tried to very closely copy the poses of the bat, but then I was like, well, this owl's gonna behave
differently.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So the more variety and even simple things like that, not only the actual movement pattern of enemies, but just the way they look, the angle they're on, or how they visually behave as well. Anytime you can make it different from other levels is definitely a good thing. So long as that difference makes sense. Difference for the sake of difference, if it looks worse, obviously, is not an option. But I don't need to tell you that. I'm talking to, hopefully, an audience as well. But anyway, so that is the beautiful snowy mountain environment with the ram and the Arctic owl. And then this is the rough. You could see the massive difference in polish here because I was spending most of my time yesterday editing videos and doing what we'll call code in Construct 2. I didn't have enough time to finish this, and I'm glad I didn't because I've known Corey for a long time and known him to always do spectacular environment work. Just in general, great work, but really fantastic environment work as well. And because time-wise I'm going to be doing all of the coding or eventing, then it makes sense for him to handle most of the art. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to leave this environment at this state of just blocked in, just roughed in. You could see I just used big fat brushes and just worked out the general color palette and the shapes. And I'm going to pass it off to Corey and let him do his thing. And that way, even though different artists are creating the general color scheme and shapes, and that helps make sure there's as much visual variety between each level, if a single artist is sort of like the lead artist that does the finishing touches, then that makes sure that there's a sort of visual cohesion to the entire game overall, even though there's all that variety, which makes the game more polished. It makes the sort of world more believable. If every level you get that feeling that it's just a different world, it was created by a different person with different rendering styles, it's really going to rip you out of... There's no one cohesive world. It rips the game apart and it ruins or takes a hit out of the immersive process of just playing a video game in general. I hope that makes sense.
I like the lightning in the background. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's hinting at a subtle outline with the two colors of more of this sort of these structures, these sort of column-like stalactite-mite combos here. And Corey will just interpret that however he wants within those technical limitations to make it pretty. But it can be very subtle, like it's dark and in shadow. Just so long as there's some kind of detail back there that doesn't look out of place, like lightning would, and just get that sense of parallax and that sense of additional depth. And then these are more 3-color sprites, which I think will be fine. They don't have to be highly, like, they don't have to use a lot of color, but you can definitely add more detail with, like, diagonal and sort of jagged hatching or almost dithering, if that makes sense. But I am very confident you will do a great job with it.
Cave stones tend to be a little like more smooth. It's like water erosion type stuff, and so and you've definitely got that with the floor there. Like I love that pattern, like I think I can really make that work really well. I'm really excited
how the game is shaping up and how beautiful you're able to make the environments despite those color limitations. So that is the art that we've gotten done yesterday, and now on to the actual work in Construct that we did, and eventually we'll release the step-by-step video. I don't have time to edit those videos during this severe crunch 5 to 7 days, so we're recording it while we work and putting all of the raw footage in a folder for me to edit later, and eventually put them all up on YouTube as I have time to edit them. But for now, we only have time to do these quick recap videos of what we got done. So I will just actually run the app, run the game, to show everyone. Where's the controller? There it is. Okay, so you can see, actually let me restart it again. Now it fades in from black, and then after 3 seconds it fades out, fades back into this screen, which is a somewhat functioning splash screen now. We have an about screen that we can go to, and then go back, and then how to play, and then we can go back, and then most importantly, when we click play, we have a cinematic system that we worked out, which simply displays an image and text for that image, and then there's a button prompt. So when you press that button, it goes to a second image, more text, and then a third image and more text, and then we can just add as many images, or if there are other cinematic scenes between levels or at the end of the game, they can all have a different number of images and text. And then you can see that the button is now, in this case, this is just obviously all programmer art. I just literally whipped it up in Construct to make the code work so that we could figure out what functionality we need to pull off a finished version of this game for version 1.0. And then I think that's it. We did not alter anything in the game itself.
Right.
So that's what we got. That's what we accomplished on the first. I think that was the first day, right, of our
pretty much
personal
day and a
challenge.
half, something like that.
And then so for today, I think what Corey has planned is to clean up this cave environment, but this is subject to change depending, because there's no specific rush for this next day. There's a lot of programming I can still do in Construct around the user interface, the menus, making the menu system work entirely with the keyboard or the controller. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. And then so there's no exact rush. So Corey can decide if he wants to clean this environment up, or start working on the owl, or animating the Ram Man, or starting to rough in the other remaining environment, which is the swamp. And then we have the mini environments, basically the areas or arenas for each boss fight at the end of each level. So they'll still be themed the same as the level, but there'll be an enclosed area with some original art.
Yeah, and we could probably use a little bit more art on those to make them more unique, because it'll just kind of be a smaller area. We won't have to make it sort of tile all the way across.
You're not
I
spreading.
think we can get away with more there. Yeah.
Right, you're not spreading the tile set over a very long level and trying to make that level look varied. It's just roughly almost just a screen or a screen and a half's worth of graphics. So the same number of tiles looks like it's got a lot more visual variety.
Cool.
Yep. So that's what we accomplished. So we'll leave it at that. Keep this video short and easy for me to edit and put up there. And expect another video tomorrow with probably more graphics and another update on what we got working, the game itself in Construct 2. Thanks a lot for watching.